Now, still to come on today's programme, the world's biggest land mammals need the smallest amount of sleep. So how can elephants get by on so little shut-eye?
Donald Trump's first 100 days in the White House are defining how he'll deal with the rest of the world.
While here in London, the UK is stepping up the formal business of Brexit.
As the new president strives to deliver on his promise to put America first.
Prime Minister Theresa May is setting out a new path for Britain and its relations with Europe.
Join us for the stories shaping our world. 100 days here on BBC World News.
Welcome back. Now, they say an elephant never forgets. Apparently, they don't sleep much either. That's according to new research which shows the world's biggest mammals can survive on just a couple of hours rest. Let's talk about this for the next few minutes with our science correspondent, Helen Briggs. And this is absolutely fascinating research. Just tell me a little more.
Well, it seems they're the ultimate power nappers, so they get about 2 hours a day. It's mainly at night. Some of that is in one chunk of sleep. Lots is in little chunks of sleep. Why? Well, we just don't really know why they survive on so little sleep. So researchers wanted to find out more. Most of this work has been done, as you can imagine, in zoos, and their elephants tend to sleep for 4 to 6 hours a day, and they lie down. But obviously, if you're in the wild, you've got potential poachers around, you've got lions around, you may not want to do that.
So self-protection, possibly the reasons why they've evolved like this. I mean, how did they actually physically do it, the scientists, work this out?
Well, they got the equivalent of an elephant Fitbit, and they had to implant it in the trunk, and they use this as a proxy for sleep. So if it kept its trunk still for 5 minutes, then they said they were asleep on that measure. They also fitted a gyroscope to the collar of the elephant so they could see whether it was standing up and lying down. And they tracked two matriarchal elephants, the leader of the herds, across Botswana for 35 days and put all this data together to find that it was 2 hours a day, but some days not at all.
And were they able to work out what type of sleep it was, whether the elephants, for example, dream?
Well, it's very, very interesting, this, because they only seem to have a long sleep. They only seem to lie down to sleep every 3 or 4 days. So that's when researchers think they'll be going into this rapid eye movement phase of sleep. So that's where, in humans at least, we dream. And that's the bit also that seems to be important in memory formation. So it is intriguing.
See, that is intriguing, isn't it? Because that old adage of elephants' memory and never forgetting, I mean, that seems to contradict what we're learning from this.
It does, and it's certainly the case that tests show that elephants do have this amazing memory. They can do it on very little of this rapid eye movement sleep. So it raises a lot more questions. They want to do more research to look at this, just to find out, you know, this role. We all dream. Well, humans dream. Could elephants dream? We just don't know.
You say that they want to do more research because, I mean, it's one of those areas that we still don't know much about. It's one of those absolutely fundamental areas. I mean, you think of reproduction, you think about eating, sleep. I mean, it's pre-programmed in our DNA, and yet we still don't know many of the answers.
Yeah, and it's fascinating because all mammals seem to sleep in some form or other, and it seems that this could have evolved, say, 300 million years ago, so it could have gone back to the ancestors of mammals, and then it's just taken different forms. So some animals sleep for longer than others, and it does tend to be that the bigger you are as an animal, the less time you sleep.
Well, Helen, it's absolutely fascinating. Thanks very much for coming in and taking us through all of that. Thank you. Now, do stay with us, because here on the programme in the next couple of minutes, well, the partition of India seen through the eyes of its last British rulers and some of their many, many servants. We speak to the director, Gurinder Chadha, about her new film. That's going to be absolutely fascinating. Also, that story, Memphis marks the king of rock and roll's death 40 years ago this year with a new museum celebrating Elvis's life. We have an Elvis impersonator with us and also a biographer who remembers interviewing Elvis alongside Bob Dylan and the Beatles. That will be absolutely fascinating. Don't forget you can get in touch with me here on Twitter. I'm at Amrody Waller BBC. Those stories coming up in a moment or two. Don't go away.
Hello there. It's been very